The seventh crown felt heavier than the first 6 combined. I stood in the center of the obsidian crucible on Kyra 9, the border world where the Zorath Dominion liked to remind everyone who ruled this stretch of the Orion arm. Blood dripped steadily from my split lip, mixing with sweat and arena dust on my chest. 30,000 insectoid spectators, chitinous bodies clicking in agitation, had fallen into a stunned, buzzing silence. Their compound eyes reflected the violet glow of the overhead floodlights like shattered glass. I had just won the Arena Gauntlet for the 7th straight time. 7 times I'd walked into that pit of blades, neuro-whips, and gravity traps. 7 times I'd walked out alive, while the best warriors the Dominion could field lay broken behind me. The rules were brutally simple, carved into the black stone wall at the entrance in 3 languages, including Standard. Win the battle, you get 1 night with the alien Empress. I won 7 times. The crowd didn't cheer like they did for their own champions. They just stared. Some of the younger Zorath clicked mandibles, and what I'd learned was disbelief. The elders remained perfectly still, wings folded tight against their thoraxes. I could feel the weight of 40,000 faceted gazes pressing down on me harder than any blow I'd taken today. The arena master, a towering 4-armed Zorath in ceremonial black plate, stepped forward. His voice rasped through the amplifiers like dry leaves over concrete. The human claims victory. For the 7th cycle, Lieutenant Ryan Hayes is undefeated. I didn't move. I'd learned long ago that showing anything, pride, exhaustion, relief, only made the silence heavier. My right hand still gripped the curved tournament glaive they'd issued me at the start. It trembled, not from fatigue, from the slow, cold realization sinking into my bones. 7 crowns. 7 nights I had refused to claim. And now the pillar of violet energy was rising from the imperial dais at the far end of the crucible. She was coming down. I wiped the blood from my mouth with the back of my forearm and waited. The pillar of violet energy touched down with a soft hiss, like steam escaping a cracked valve. The crowd's silence stretched thinner, almost painful. Empress Veyra-Lor stepped off the light column onto the blackened sand of the crucible. She was even taller up close, easily 7.5 feet, with skin that caught the arena lights and threw them back in liquid silver ripples. Her eyes weren't just fractured starlight. They moved, tiny constellations shifting behind the pupils as if tracking thoughts I couldn't see. Every motion she made was too smooth, too precise, the way water flows over polished stone. Nothing wasted, nothing human. She stopped 10 paces from me. The arena master bowed, so low his forehead nearly scraped the ground. She ignored him. "Lieutenant Ryan Hayes," she said. Her voice carried without amplifiers, low, resonant, vibrating in my chest like distant artillery. 7 cycles, 7 victories. No warrior of any species has ever claimed more than 3 in succession. You have rewritten history with your stubborn flesh. I met her gaze. I'd practiced the angle in a cracked mirror back on the troop transport, 15 degrees down, enough respect to avoid a summary execution, not enough to look like I was kneeling. "Your Majesty." She tilted her head. The motion sent a faint shimmer across her skin, like oil on water. "You honor us with your persistence." The word tasted strange in her mouth, the way someone might say regret or affection for the first time. "And yet, 6 times you have left the palace before dawn. You have requested nothing, claimed nothing, walked away from the prize every sentient being in this sector would kill to touch." I shrugged. The motion pulled at the gash on my lip. Fresh blood trickled down my chin. "I don't need anything you're offering." The silence in the crucible became absolute. Even the wind generators seemed to pause. Veyra-Lor's eyes narrowed. The starlight in them spun faster. "Insolence is a capital offense, human. I know." I kept my voice level. "But you asked." I answered. For a long second I thought she would signal the guards. Instead she laughed, a sound like crystal shards falling into deep water, beautiful and dangerous at once. My spine prickled. Some old animal instinct told me to run. "You will attend me tonight," she said. It wasn't a question. Not because tradition demands it. Not because you have earned it. Because I will understand what drives a creature to win 7 times and then refuse the only reward worth having. This time, "Lieutenant Hayes, you will not leave until I have my answers." She turned without waiting for a reply. The violet pillar rose again, swallowing her in light. The arena master gestured sharply. 2 guards flanked me, their segmented arms clicking in warning. I let them lead me out of the crucible. The crowd still hadn't cheered. They just watched, 30,000 compound eyes tracking me like I was already dead. Or worse, like I was something new. The walk to the Citadel shuttle felt longer than any fight I'd just survived. My boots left bloody prints on the obsidian walkway. Each step echoed the same thought. 7 crowns. 7 refusals. And now she wasn't asking anymore. If you've watched this far, then this story is really interesting to you. Please confirm it by clicking like under this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me understand what story to publish for you next. Let's move on. The Citadel of Thorns floated above Kyra. 9 like a crown of black crystal thorns, held aloft by gravitic engines that hummed just below the edge of hearing. The shuttle ride up was silent except for the guards' segmented breathing. They didn't speak to me. I didn't speak to them. They led me through corridors lined with bioluminescent vines that pulsed in slow, warning rhythms. No guest suites this time. No lavish food trays or holographic entertainments. We descended deeper, past the public levels, past the security checkpoints that required retinal scans even the guards flinched at, until we reached a plain wooden door set into obsidian wall. It looked wrong here. Primitive. Human, almost. The lead guard clicked his mandibles. The Empress awaits. No weapons. I handed over the tournament glaive, the boot knife I'd kept hidden through 7 gauntlets, and the thin carbon wire garrote sewn into my collar. They found all 3 without patting me down. Zorath surveillance tech. Always one step ahead. The door opened onto a small chamber. Cushions scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. A low table held 2 steaming cups and a crystalline pot. No guards inside. No attendants. Just her. Veyra-Lor sat cross-legged on a wide cushion, back straight, armor gone. She wore simple gray cloth that draped from neck to ankle, something a soldier might sleep in after a long watch. No crown. No jewelry. In the soft violet light from the walls, her silver skin looked almost matte, vulnerable. "Sit," she said. I sat across from her. The cushion was too soft. I hated it instantly. "You've been watching me," I said. "I've been studying you." She poured liquid into both cups. It smelled faintly of ozone and honey. A human lieutenant. No augments. No gene mods. No cybernetics. Yet you've defeated our finest 7 times. My intelligence services cannot explain it. Your finest are predictable. She pushed a cup toward me. I didn't touch it. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "I want to know why you keep coming back." She sipped from her own cup, amber eyes never leaving mine. "You enter the gauntlet 3 times a cycle. You train between events like a man possessed. You refuse diplomatic quarters, speak to no one unless forced. Your own command chain is baffled. They think you're mad. So why?" I stared at the steam rising from my untouched cup. The words came out before I could stop them. "Because I'm good at it. And I'm not good at much else anymore." She set her cup down. The war never really ended. Treaties get signed. Bodies stop piling up in public. But inside, I trailed off, shrugged. Inside it keeps going. She studied me the way a sniper studies a target. Then, quietly, my consort was on the command nexus above Tavern when your recon platoon hit it. He was coordinating civilian evacuations. He chose to stay. I felt the air leave my lungs. "I coordinated that strike from orbit," I said. Flat. No apology. No defense. Just fact. "I know." Her voice was calm. Too calm. "I've known since your first victory. My services are thorough." I waited for the blade. For the signal. For anything. It didn't come. "Why am I still breathing?" I asked. "Because I understand you, Lieutenant Hayes." She leaned forward slightly. "I understand hunting death and finding only more victories. I understand fighting when there is nothing left worth fighting for. I understand being alone inside a fortress full of loyal subjects who cannot see you." I looked at her, really looked, and saw it. The faint tension at the corners of her eyes. The way she kept her back to the wall. The careful distance she kept even now. She was as hollowed out as I was. "You're lonely," I said. "I am Empress. Loneliness is expected." "That's not the same thing." "No." She almost smiled. "It is not." She lifted my untouched cup and held it out. This time I took it. The liquid was warm, sweet, burned gently down my throat like good whiskey. "I have a proposition," she said. one unrelated to tradition or prizes. I'm listening. I need a companion, not a lover, not a servant, not a political token. Someone who sees what I have become because they have become the same. Someone who will not lie to me, fear me, or worship me. Someone who knows what it is to keep moving when everything inside has already stopped. I set the cup down. My hand was steady. You want me to stay? I want you to stay? As my equal, my confidant. The human word is friend, though I suspect neither of us remembers how. I laughed once, short, bitter. You know I killed your consort. You were a soldier in a war neither of us started. That doesn't make it clean. Nothing makes it clean. She leaned closer. But nothing will bring him back. And I am tired of carrying hate like a blade in my chest. I watched you fight today. 7 victories. You still look like you're searching for the one opponent who can end it. I am searching too. Perhaps we might search together. I was quiet a long time. I don't know how to be anything else anymore. Neither do I. She extended her hand. 3 long fingers, silver skin catching the light. But if it fails, you return to your gauntlets. I return to my throne. We both keep marching toward the death we cannot quite reach. Or we try something different. I looked at her hand. I thought about Tavern, about the platoon I'd lost, about the empty bunk I still kept on the troop ship, about the sidearm I cleaned every night just in case tomorrow finally arrived. Then I thought about the way she said lonely, like it was a wound still bleeding. I took her hand. I'll stay, I said. For now. Months slipped by like sand through cracked armor plating. The citadel of thorns became something I never expected. Routine. I woke to the low hum of gravitics instead of klaxons. I ate meals that appeared without asking. Real protein, not ration paste. Servants moved like shadows, never meeting my eyes. At first it choked me. Too quiet. Too clean. Too safe. Veyra-Lor noticed. You are unhappy, she said one morning, finding me on a balcony overlooking the training pits far below. I'd been watching her elite guard drill for hours, unable to look away. I'm adjusting. You are miserable. There is a difference. I didn't argue. I don't know what to do with myself here. Then train. She stepped beside me. She wore light combat armor, sleek, black, edged in violet filigree. No ceremonial weight, just function. With me. I turned. You want to spar? I want to understand how you fight. Your technique is alien. My instructors cannot replicate it. That's because they fight to win. I fight to survive. Different priorities. Show me. The pits went quiet when we descended. Guards formed a loose circle, hands on weapons, clearly unsure if this was protocol or treason. Veyra-Lor ignored them. She selected 2 training blades from the rack, curved, balanced, and tossed one to me. I caught it, tested the edge. No padding. No helmets. My skin is more durable than yours, she said. I should be the one concerned. I heal fast enough. Rules. First blood. Or first yield. Whichever comes first. We circled. She moved like liquid shadow, fast in bursts, devastating up close. Zorath were ambush predators by evolution. Short, explosive engagements were their strength. I let her come first. Her blade whistled past my ear. I ducked, felt the wind. She was faster than anyone I'd faced in the gauntlet, which meant she'd been holding back her champions for years. But she was also readable. Patterns. Habits. 3 minutes in, I slipped inside her guard, pressed the flat of my blade to the nerve cluster at the base of her skull. She froze, then yielded. Again, she said. We went 4 more rounds. She lost each one, but closed the gap every time. By the 5th bout she drew blood, a shallow line across my forearm. It stung, but I'd had worse. You fight like you're already dead, she panted as we circled again. You take risks no sane warrior would. That's why I keep winning. How? The odds don't matter if you don't care about them. She lowered her blade. Considered that. Your warriors fight to live. I fight because it's the only thing I still know how to do. You can't scare someone who isn't afraid of losing. Veyra-Lor deactivated her training blade. Session over. Tell me about them. Who? Your platoon. You mentioned them once. You have not spoken of your past since you arrived. I hesitated. Because I am asking. We walked the gardens while I talked. I told her about Sergeant Reyes, who sang off-key ballads to keep us sane on long patrols. Corporal Lin, who could hotwire anything with 2 wires and spite. Private Kowalski, the kid who lied about his age to enlist and fought like he had something to prove. I told her about Tavern, the Ice Moon ambush, the plasma strike that lit the night like false dawn, the way I woke up 3 days later in a med bay with a decommission notice and nothing left but scars. They wanted me out, said I'd done enough. And you disagreed. I disagreed that I'd done anything at all. They did the giving. I just kept breathing. She was quiet a long time. My consort stayed on the Nexus to cover the evacuation. He could have fled. He chose not to. I'm sorry. So am I. She stopped walking. In the soft glow of the garden lights, her silver skin looked almost gentle. But grief does not require resolution. It only requires companionship. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. When she started walking again, I followed. The silence between us felt lighter than before. One evening, weeks later, I was reviewing Dominion tactical overlays. Not because anyone asked, just habit. I spotted the flaw almost immediately. Your border stations are vulnerable, I told her over dinner in her private chambers. She looked up from diplomatic scrolls she'd been ignoring. Excuse me. I projected the holomap. You keep 60% of forces static. It works against conventional threats. The rogue cells we're still fighting don't play conventional. They infiltrate, strike, vanish. This is not new intelligence. No, but the fix is. I highlighted 3 corridors. Shift to mobile response nodes here, here, here. You cut infiltration success by 70%. She studied the projection. My generals will resist. Your generals lost 14 stations last cycle. They can resist all they want. She smiled. Real, small, unguarded. You have been studying our doctrine. I was bored. You were useful. She deactivated the map. I will present this to the War Council tomorrow. Will you attend? As what? As my military advisor. I'm a lieutenant. You advise me. That is the same thing. The War Council did not go well. Zorath generals were not used to being critiqued by a human. They dismissed my analysis, questioned my loyalty, hinted, politely, that the Empress had lost her mind by sheltering a war criminal. Veyra-Lor let them speak. When they finished, the temperature in the chamber dropped. General Zath, she said calmly, how many border stations have you lost in the past 3 cycles? Silence. 14, she answered for him. 407 soldiers. 2 mining asteroids your predecessor spent a decade securing. She circled the table slowly. General Vren, when was our defensive doctrine last updated? Our doctrine is sound, Majesty. When? 31 cycles ago, before the human conflict escalated. She stopped beside me. Every eye in the room followed. This human has defeated your finest 7 times. He has studied our manuals, found our weaknesses, offered solutions none of you considered, because you were too proud to ask. Her voice sharpened like a drawn blade. Pride is not strategy, generals. If we lose this shadow war, we will not lose it to rogue cells. We will lose it to our own arrogance. Silence. You will implement his recommendations. You will report results to me personally. Understood? It was understood. Walking back to my quarters that night, I felt something unfamiliar. Useful. Not just following orders. Actually building something. Thank you, I said quietly. She was still beside me. For what? For trusting me. You have given me no reason not to. Most people don't need a reason. She stopped. When I turned, her expression made my chest tighten. You are not most people, Ryan Hayes. You are strange and broken and stubborn, and you fight with the fury of someone who has lost everything. But you are also honest, loyal, kind in ways you do not see. She reached out, first time she'd initiated contact, and touched my arm. I trust you because you have earned it. Stop being surprised. I didn't know what to say, so I took her hand, held it for a moment. Let go. It was enough. The assassination came 6 months in. I woke to the wrong kind of silence. No low gravitic hum, no distant servant footsteps, just the dead quiet that means someone cut power on purpose. Instinct kicked in before my eyes fully opened. I rolled off the bed, pressed flat against the wall, scanning shadows. 3 figures near the door. Stealth suits, muffled breathing, blades glinting in the emergency glow strips. Human tech. Black Ops grade. They weren't here for me alone. They were the distraction. I had no weapons. Palace security was supposed to handle that. I'd gotten soft. Stupid. The first one stepped into arm's reach. I moved. It was ugly, fast, quiet. Chokehold on the neck. Crunch. He dropped without a sound. The second spun. I drove my elbow into his throat, felt cartilage give. The third got a blade up. I took it across the ribs, shallow but burning, then slammed his head into the wall until he stopped moving. 3 down, blood on my hands. Not enough time to feel it. Veyra-Lor. I ran barefoot through dark corridors, alarms silent, emergency lights flickering red. I'd memorized the route to her chambers weeks ago, old habit. Power was out, doors locked on fail-safes, but I knew the maintenance passages. Slid through a service hatch, dropped into the level below her quarters. I heard fighting before I saw her. 2 more assassins, better trained, armored, blades designed to punch through Zorath carapace. She was backed against the wall of her private antechamber, silver skin streaked with dark blood from a gash on her shoulder. Her movements were slower than they should have been, but she still held them off, blade in one hand, improvised shield of shattered furniture in the other. I hit the first from behind, arm around the throat, twist, snap. He crumpled. The second turned, raised a pistol. Veyra-Lor's blade took him through the throat in the same instant. Then it was over. We stood in the dark, breathing hard, surrounded by bodies. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "Are you?" I stepped closer, eyes on the wound. "That needs pressure. Nothing fatal." "That's not what I asked." She made a sound, half laugh, half pain. "You are infuriating. I've been told." I took her arm, guided her toward the nearest emergency shelter. I'd mapped it during my second week here. Small, armored, stocked for siege. I sealed the door, triggered the beacon, turned to find her slumped against the wall, composure cracking for the first time. "Let me see it. It is not serious. Let me see it." She let me pull aside the torn cloth. Deep cut, clean, missed the major vessels by a centimeter. Another inch, and she'd have bled out in minutes. "Needs stitches," I said, rummaging through the medkit. "Why did you fight alone?" "They came for me. You could have escaped." "Because you're my friend." I met her eyes. "The Empress part is just your job." She stared at me, then slowly reached up, traced the old scar along my jaw with 3 fingers. "My people do not form bonds easily," she said quietly. "Needing another is weakness." "Yeah, well, my people think asking for help is strength. Shows you're smart enough to know your limits." "What are your limits, Ryan Hayes?" I looked at her, really looked. 6 months of living here, advising her, training her soldiers, slowly remembering how to be more than a weapon. "I don't know anymore," I admitted. "I used to. Then you asked me to stay and I'm still figuring it out." "As am I." She lowered her hand. "You saved my life tonight. You would have done the same." "Yes." Something shifted then, quiet, irrevocable. "This will hurt," I said, threading the needle. "Try not to stab me. I make no promises." I stitched while she gripped a supply crate hard enough to dent the metal. Neither of us spoke. When I finished, she looked at my hands, still steady, and made a soft sound of approval. "You have done this before. Field medicine. Nothing fancy. You are better at it than my staff. Your staff has fancy equipment. I just have practice." I bandaged the wound, sat back. "You should rest. I should return to my guards. They will search. They'll find us when we're ready. Right now you're wounded, and there might be more out there." I met her eyes. "Stay." She was quiet a long moment. Then she lowered herself to the floor beside me, careful of the shoulder, and exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. "You asked too much," she said. "I know. You pushed too hard. I know that too. And yet I cannot seem to refuse you." She closed her eyes. "This is what my advisors warn me about. Human stubbornness is contagious. One of our better qualities." She made that almost laugh sound again. "You have too many better qualities, Ryan Hayes. It is becoming problematic." I didn't answer. I just let the silence settle, warm, close, and wondered when this strange, broken empress had become the most important thing in my life. The investigation later traced the hit to a conspiracy. Exiled Zorath nobles who saw her softness toward a human as weakness, backed by rogue human black ops cells still bitter about the peace accords. They called me her pet. They thought killing us both would restart the war. Veyra-Lor didn't execute the nobles. She stripped titles, assets, reassigned them to the most dangerous frontier outposts. Mercy with teeth. They'd die in service, not on a block. Mercy with purpose, she called it. I watched her sign the orders and felt something settle in my chest. Not peace, but close enough. The 8th gauntlet arrived like a storm I could no longer avoid. I had spent the past year building something fragile and real inside the Citadel, advising Veyra-Lor, training her guard, slowly learning how to wake up without reaching for a weapon first. The shadow war with rogue cells had cooled to uneasy détente. For the first time since Tavern, I caught myself thinking about next month instead of just surviving the next hour. Then the Gauntlet heralds appeared at dawn, broadcasting the call across every channel on Kyra. 9. Tradition didn't care about peace treaties or personal choices. Someone had to win. If not me, then another. Veyra-Lor found me in the armory that morning, strapping on the same light armor I'd worn 7 times before. "You do not have to enter," she said quietly. "The tradition does not require a defending champion, but it requires a winner." I tightened the last strap. "And if it's not me, then someone else earns a night in my chambers." She stepped closer. Her silver skin caught the low light like moonlight on steel. "That was the point. Before. Things have changed," I said. "You know they have." I did. I'd known since the night in the shelter, maybe longer. But admitting it felt like jinxing the fragile thing we'd made. "I have to fight," I told her. "Not for the prize. Because if I stop now, I don't know who I become." She studied me for a long moment. "Then I will watch," she said. "And I will wait. And I will pretend I am not terrified every time you step into that pit." Her voice stayed steady. Her hands did not. "That is what this requires, is it not? Patience. Fear. Letting you choose your path." I went still. "This," I repeated, "is that not what we have built?" She met my eyes without flinching. "I have studied your human text this past year. Your poets call it madness, fire, consumption. Your philosophers call it choice, commitment, binding yourself to another even when walking away would be simpler." She reached up, 3 fingers brushing my cheek, impossibly gentle. "I choose you, Ryan Hayes. I have chosen you since the day you refused your prize and looked at an empress like she was only a person. Since you stitched my wound without hesitation. Since you ran toward assassins instead of away. I choose you through every council, every near death, every night I watched you fight with my heart in my throat." "Veyra, you do not have to say it back. I am not demanding declarations. I am telling you the truth, because you taught me truth matters more than comfort." She lowered her hand. "Now go. Win or lose, I will be waiting." The crucible was different this time. Every strike carried weight it never had before. I wasn't hunting death anymore. I was fighting to come home. The first 3 opponents fell fast, young, eager, predictable. The 4th was a scarred veteran with illegal kinetic implants. I barely scraped by with cracked ribs and a new respect for how close I'd come. The final bout was against her. The Dominion's legendary Eidolon Blade, a warrior bonded to Veyra-Lor since childhood, body and mind fused in the rarest Zorath rite. She moved like an extension of shadow itself, lean, lethal, eyes burning the same fractured amber as Veyra-Lor's. "You are the human," she said across the sand. "The one who refuses to fall. And you're the one they've been hiding. There was no need before. You were not a threat." Her gaze sharpened. "Now the Empress has chosen a broken, stubborn human who does not grasp what he has stolen. You disapprove. She was meant to be mine." I raised my blade. No more words. The fight was the hardest of my life. She anticipated every feint, countered every pattern, forced me into exhaustion rather than killing blows. I bled from a dozen shallow cuts. She was better, cleaner, angrier. Anger makes people sloppy. 12 minutes in, she overextended on a thrust meant for my heart. Balance shifted, just a fraction. I saw it. I took the opening. Her blade clattered away. Mine pressed to the nerve cluster at the base of her skull, the same spot I'd used on Veyra-Lor a year ago. "Yield," I said quietly. "I cannot. The bond does not permit. You're not bonded to her anymore." I held steady. She chose someone else. "You can keep fighting, or you can walk away and build something new." Her eyes widened. Shock, grief. Then slowly, impossibly, she lowered her weapon. I yield. The crowd erupted. First time they'd cheered for me. I didn't hear it. I walked out of the crucible, ribs screaming, vision blurring from blood loss, straight past the medical teams, straight to the Imperial balcony where she waited. No celebration, no crown, just her. I didn't celebrate the victory. No crown on my head, no victory lap through the crucible. I just walked, ribs burning, vision spotting from blood loss, straight past the medics, past the roaring crowd, up the private lift to the Imperial balcony. She was waiting. Veyra-Lor stood at the railing, silver skin catching the first light of Kyra IX's twin suns rising over the horizon. No armor, no attendants, just her, in the same simple gray cloth she'd worn the night we first spoke alone. She turned as I stepped out. "You won," she said softly. Not a question. 8 times. I leaned against the railing beside her, trying not to wince. "And the Eidolon blade is gone." She took a ship to the outer territories at dawn. Veyra-Lor nodded once. She loved me. In the old way. When I chose you, she saw betrayal. "Did you know?" I suspected. Her 3-fingered hand found mine, interlacing without hesitation. "I should have told you. Would it have changed anything?" "No." She turned to face me fully. "Nothing changes the truth, Ryan. I have loved you since you refused your prize. Since you looked at an empress and saw only a person. Since you held my hand in that shelter and stitched my wound without flinching. I have loved you through assassins, through councils, through every gauntlet I watched with terror in my chest." She lifted our joined hands. "You asked once what I was searching for. Do you remember your answer? Purpose. And have you found it?" I looked at her, this towering, fractured, magnificent being who had seen me at my emptiest and chosen me anyway. I thought about Tavern, about the platoon I'd buried in memory, about the years I'd spent trying to die meaningfully, then about staying, about mornings without alarms, about someone who waited. "I found something better," I said. "I found you." Veyra-Lor smiled, real, unguarded, the kind that softened every sharp angle of her face into something almost human. "Then perhaps it is time we stopped fighting." "I don't know how." "Neither do I." She leaned forward, pressed her forehead to mine, the Zorath gesture of absolute trust, of vulnerability, of everything laid bare. "But I am told humans learn quickly." I laughed. It hurt my ribs. I didn't care. "Yeah," I whispered, closing my eyes. "We do." The 9th gauntlet came and went without me in the pit. I watched from the Imperial box beside her as a young Zorath warrior claimed victory and earned his single night. Tradition continued, 3,000 years unbroken. But something had shifted forever. That night, curled against her in the quarters we now shared, I traced idle patterns on her arm, still marveling at how her skin changed color in low light. "You do not miss it?" she asked. "The gauntlet." I pressed a kiss to her forehead. "I've found better things to fight for. You. This. Whatever we're building." She tilted her face up, amber eyes soft. "You are good at many things, Ryan Hayes, including stubbornness. One of my better qualities." She smiled, and I smiled too. Somewhere in the cold vastness between stars, a broken soldier and a lonely empress had stopped searching for honorable deaths. We had found a home. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write in the comments what moment in this story impressed you the most. And also check out the other videos that just appeared on your screen. See you in the next video.